Welcome back to SwitchCorner. It's time for volume 18 of our Switch Gems series. Here I keep things simple. I break down 5 games, some obvious, some not so much, and I tell you why I like them, who out there might enjoy them, and yeah, from there you can decide whether they are worth, an add to the library, or even just at least a spot on that wish list or even shopping list. So with that luck, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and let's get started. So first up today, with the hype that is surrounding the upcoming, or at least at the time of this video, Hyrule Warriors 2, what better time than to take a look at your other options that are, like Dynasty Warriors or Musou. With so many options available on the Switch for the genre, this was, I gotta say, harder than I expected, but I've went with Fate EXTELLA Link. This one does indeed have a physical release. It comes in this fancy limited edition box, and that's the theme with today's video. I'm going for the most part with physical releases, but ones that I think deserve, a little extra love. First up though, this is a sequel to a game by the name of the Umbral Star, but this one, it pretty much improves on things across the board. Now if at this point you're thinking, but what about the story? Honestly, these Dynasty Warrior hybrids are not famous for their, plot points or storytelling, and that's very much the case here. It's an excuse to fight. I played this with very little background knowledge, and I still had a blast. I have Umbral Star, but I haven't played it in years at this point. It was one I actually played originally on the Theta, so I think I can speak for the majority when I can say, if you don't mind being a little lost at points, this one has some recaps for what happened prior, but that's about it. You'll still have an absolute blast. Story, it can basically be summed up as someone got kidnapped, now go get them. What really matters though is there is tons of enemy waves to take down, a huge battle map and locations, 26 playable characters, each with unique skill sets, main missions, side missions to complete, and then even some minor RPG mechanics, think leveling up and the like. With this hack and slash genre, honestly I get bored quickly and rarely do I finish them, but this is one that actually got me across the finish line like Hyrule and Fire Emblem Warriors before it, so I do think I can stand behind saying this is well worth a look. So next up then, AI the Somnium Files. I'm not particularly a visual novel fan, but through the Switch's life I've been more open to them, and that can pretty much be put down to this single game. I played Phoenix Wright back in the day, a game I never really personally considered at the time a visual novel, but that is by far the closest comparison I can think of if you slap Phoenix Wright with an adult rating. AI the Somnium Files, it tells the story of a special agent who is on the case of a mysterious serial killer in a futuristic Tokyo, investigate crime scenes though, interrogate witnesses, and even hunt through folks' dreams for clues. It's not going crazy on the gameplay front, but from looking for the clues to choosing that next dialogue option, it all adds a little weight to a genre where I often question, how much impact am I really having? Well here, for me, I gotta say it felt like a lot, and this just caught me completely off guard after I picked it up, not really knowing anything about it other than, honestly, I just liked the cover art, and it was a big box special edition on sale at my local GameStop, and it actually ended up in my top 5 games of 2019. Thanks to this game I opened up an entire new genre to experience, and I've played some truly awful games because of it, but I also got some amazing experience too. Think Deathmark, Buried Stars, Raging Loop, and then right around the same time I picked up Steins Gate Elite as well, and that was another incredible experience. If you're curious to the genre though and maybe want to give it a shot, or already know you like the genre, give this one a shot. It's for me the best on the console, on the cast, the writing, the setting, just some of the best I've seen in a long time. Rounding out the package then as well, expect a stunning visual design, some truly disturbing imagery, and a fantastic soundtrack score that captures that futuristic Tokyo vibe with an instrumentation combination that jumps between more traditional acoustic style and then layered electronics. So Wild Guns Reloaded, and this one, it's a remaster of a SNES game that has also seen the inclusion now of quite a bit of extra content. While I would love to say I own the original SNES cart as well, yeah, no chance. The asking price on that in the US is around the $175 mark, and if you want that with a box and manual, expect to see it pushing close to $750. So yeah, this one coming in at $20 or your regional equivalent, I will take that as a win. Gameplay here is relatively simple though. It's a Wild West gallery shooter with a futuristic twist. Expect cowboys that gradually turn into all sorts of mechanical threats as you progress. Where this one separates itself from the usual shooting gallery experience. So for me, it has to be the movement. This isn't as still, you know, stand in one spot kind of experience, but instead you have the ability to jump, dive and roll, all in the hope of saving your own life. While I do think the absence of motion controls here is a missed opportunity, it doesn't take away from the panic-inducing like moments when swarms of enemies fill your screen and you'll be shooting at them with all sorts of like different weapons at your disposal just to take them down as quickly as possible. Throw in then 4 characters thanks to 2 new additions, all with their own unique skill sets, online leaderboards and local multiplayer for up to 4 players, which is absolutely incredible. This is well worth a look. The only complaint people might have is a product of its age, meaning it's short, less than an hour or so to beat it once you're good enough to beat it, but it's going to keep you coming back and it's going to take you a hell of a lot longer than one playthrough to get through this beast. It's honestly at points just hard as nails. Really like this one though, and it's well worth a look. This is how you do, you know, a remaster, a re-release the right way. Alright, so HELLMUT, the badass from Holland. My understanding is the physical release of this one, it was exclusive to GameStop, and at time of recording, it's about half the price of the eShop release, so I would suggest you jump over to eBay and check it out there. Here though, think like Enter the Gungeon with a more metal vibe, and it's not as good either honestly, but let's face it, Enter the Gungeon's one of the very best out there. That said, this one, still pretty amazing stuff, and where it truly separates itself is in its character progression. Jumping in first of all, this is a roguelike twin stick shooter with some stunning pixel art visuals, allowing for just like a ton of creativity and a whole lot of blood. You'll start at the opening as like a simple floating skull, but as you progress, not only will you now find like new weapons to use, but be able to transform into different creatures. Die as one creature, that's fine, just don't die as the skull itself. That at that point is a game over and you'll be on to the next run from there. The pace is fast though, the combat fun, and the standout again, it's the transformations, because each feels so unique and different that it will force you to experiment. You can even like switch freely between both forms and use multiple forms in a single run. Sure, it's another one technically you can beat quickly, but it's gonna take you a fair few like practice runs to get there. Also, you'll want to come back because you will want to see the other weapons, and then as you beat these levels, new transformations will unlock, so each completion gives you more. These levels as well, all randomly generated. Really like this one, found plenty of reasons to go back myself, especially the fact it offers local 2-player co-op, and I've had an absolute blast with that. This one though, it dropped to little fanfare and I don't hear it mentioned too often, and I think you should check out a review or 2 and go the physical route. As I said, that will definitely save you some cash. Alright, so the final game of the week then, Cosmic Star Heroine, and technically not a retail release, but it did come from Limited Run Games, and you can still grab it for a somewhat reasonable price from eBay, if reasonable would be considered like double the original asking price. Otherwise, if you don't want to pay that, go the eShop direction. This goes on sale frequently and it is well worth your time. It's a throwback to 90s era JRPGs, and it tells the story of a secret agent for the Agency of Peace and Intelligence. Think a modern day like take on a Chrono Trigger, where they add in some like modern comforts to make it all a little easier to digest for players that maybe didn't have those experiences back in the day. Here though, expect an epic adventure of just danger, threats and espionage that's then wrapped up with some solid animated cutscenes and instant turn-based battles with a party of up to like 4 different characters. You'll continuously be recruiting here new teammates. Wrapping this one up then though, the pixel work is really nice as you'll get to explore 3 different planets, you'll meet aliens, meet robots, you'll face magic, and the soundtrack from Hyperduck Soundworks. This is one of those games where I'm going to say, even if you don't buy the game, go ahead and check out the great music, especially the main theme. It captures that sense of 90s that few modern games can really match. You know, the moment you listen to this track, I promise you, you can already like see the trailer in your head with slow motion running and all of that good stuff. And that's it, another week down. Do you own any of these already, and can you get behind the decision or even against the decision to add them to this growing series? With that then, like a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the video description down below. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.